So can you get up and show me the exact place of pain that you got in your back?
Here,
Yes.
here, and now here.
You see where she's pointing? The trapezius and the kidney. Okay, so you already think about the kidney and the trapezius. Okay, very simple. Okay?
Thank you.
Your gynecological system is okay, your period is painful, regular.
I didn't get.
Menstruasyonun düzenli oluyor mu? Ağrılı oluyor mu?
No. I have got a problem. It's my femininity and polycystic over.
Polycystic ovary.
I have that and
What?
Ovary, polycystic ovary. Okay.
and 3 months there's no menstruation.
Yeah.
And
So it's not regular.
no, it's not right.
I found here the anterior, the right side, and the left side posterior. So what I'm going to do, I'm going
Can we hear you?
the right side is anterior, the left side is posterior. So I'm going to stretch the piriformis, and now I'm going to check again.
It's both released.
Yes, when she is doing internal rotation, the piriformis is releasing, and the tension here on the anterior side will also get released. Okay, so here the piriformis is contracted. Okay, so continue with the
arms.
with the arms.
C'est tout.
Yes, correct. C2. So C2 is releasing the anterior. Okay. Now we know that the left piriformis is stuck, and C2 on the right side, and it's also correspond to what we did in the standing diagram. Okay? So what I want to do now, I want to check the upper cervical and the sacroiliac canal 5, and try to see who is influencing who. Okay? And then I want us to do the cranial test. Okay, so I want to see who is influencing who. The lower back or the neck affect the lower back.
This is from the right.
Right side?
This is from the left.
We have the general test right side and the specific test left.
Good. So now,
Indication for Dora.
yes, so what I want you to do, I want you to do inhibition to the Lua and check the test again.
Inhibition to
Yes, to the ethmoid.
to the internal.
You can, if you want, I can do it or she can do it.
She also can do it. You tell her to press the little finger deep in the arm, but very deep inside. And now you can check it again.
Check the general test.
Yeah, the general test and the general test.
It's released. It's even.
Yes. So it's indication for Dora restriction.
And it's also, it's releasing the fascial tension.
Okay.
Okay, so you see when she's touching here, the fascial tension is releasing. Okay, now I want to do, to check if while she's pressing here, the tension in the pelvis is also get released. So we're going to check the sacroiliac. We'll find a dysfunction, and is she going to press close to the ethmoid, and we'll see if the tension disappears.
So the test of where it's coming from, it's not meta because we know it's coming from the dura.
No, but I want to see if the dura also affect
This,
the
yes.
lower back.
Okay.
And if it affects the lower back, we're going to do a dural technique, and then I want to see that the suboccipital C2 and the pelvic get released. This will be the indication that we were successful.
Son, did you find the restriction on the left side?
Yes. On both sides, actually, but left side is more. It seems to resolve it.
Good. So now I want you to palpate the sacroiliac in the area of the psis and see if there is any sensitivity. If you can take the hand down. Palpate the area of the sacroiliac. Say it in English so all of us can understand.
I have some sensation in that part.
Okay. And now?
No.
No.
Okay.
Okay, so what we know, we have few things. We know that the RTM, the dura, is going to release the sacroiliac and the suboccipital and C2. Okay, so now we're going to start the treatment from the dura. Okay, but you saw that when she was standing, the sacroiliac was stuck on the right. Yes, and now both of them are stuck, but more on the left. So when we have this discrepancy, it means that the gravity doesn't pass in a good way. One of the main reasons that can cause it is the inner organ. Okay? The inner organ, I will suspect now the ovary and the gynecological system that changed the restriction from standing, that was on the right, to when she's lying down is on the left. Okay, so now we can check the Chapman reflex and see what's going on, because most probably, because she has gynecological problems, she might have the hormonal axis active. So I want to check it. And then I'm going to do the dura, and then if the Chapman reflexes is active, I'm going to do the Chapman reflexes. Okay? Who wants to do the Chapman reflex? Come in. Just pressure. So you see what we found here is we have the ovaries on the right, and the kidney and the thyroid on the left. So let's try to do inhibition to the point of the ovaries, and then check what happened on the left side to the thyroid and the adrenal. Okay? So you press here to inhibit this and check the other 2 points while you give. Yes, you're going to press here, and then you're going to check the thyroid and the kidney. Okay? Ask her if the pain is changing the rib.
Sadece baskı gibi olmaya başladı sanki. Yeah, it's more like pressure now.
Good. Good. So you see the pain reduced. Now check the adrenal.
Burada da hissiniz hocam. Just pressure.
Just pressure. So you see the point for the ovary release all the endocrine disturbances on the left. So I know that I'm going to treat the right ovary. Okay, so now we have a start for the treatment. We're going to treat the dura and the right ovary. Okay, this is our treatment for today.
Okay. I feel that it's not passing from the left anterior to the right one.
Again,
It's not passing from left to right.
from left to right. Okay.
So, this is okay.
Okay, so what I want you to do now, I want you to check which part of the tentarium is blocked on the left side. Check between the occiput to temporal and between temporal to sphenoid.
Check this again. I feel it's not passing from the sphenoid to the temporal.
Both direction?
No, only from the sphenoid to the temporal. The temporal to the sphenoid passes, and the sphenoid to the temporal is not passing. I would like a second opinion about it.
Okay, let me check. Okay. So my diagnosis is the suture between the temporal and the sphenoid is blocked. Okay? So the tentarium between the temporal and the sphenoid is blocked. Now we need to balance the anterior portion of the tentarium cerebellum, and then we're going to check all our finding again. So who wants to try to balance it? Try to balance it. Try to balance the tentarium between the temporal and the sphenoid, and when you finish, you call me and I will check it. See what happened in the posterior? And the posterior part here is very restricted. Okay? And if I want to verify it, what I can do, I can press it. You know, if we think that the posterior part is restricted, we can, if I press here, is it sensitive? And if I press here, yes. So you see the hamstring and the gastrocnemius and is restricted. And now, what I'm going to do inhibition to the sacroiliac. So I'm going to do now inhibition to the sacroiliac, and I'm going to check it again. And it's releasing. Okay, so the sacroiliac here now on the right side is released. Okay? Now we know she had the ovary here. Okay? So I want to see if the tension in the ovary going to release the sacroiliac. Okay? So I'm going to press the ovary here. And it's not releasing. So I want to work now on the sacroiliac. Okay, so I'm going now to give a treatment to the sacroiliac, to the coccyx, and then I'm going to check the Chapman reflex again. Okay, because if the ovary was the primary, I want to see that the pelvis will get a little bit more balance. Okay, so I'm going to check to work on the sacroiliac, coccyx. We're going to check the fascia on the posterior side, and we're going to check the Chapman reflex. If the Chapman reflex is still there, we're going to work with balance. Good. So check now the posterior fascial tension. Also 80% I can use. Okay, now check
The point,
the point for the ovaries.
the Chapman.
Yes, the right side. That is no pain.
Okay.
You see now the congestion in the sacroiliac created a blockage in the lymphatic, and this is what created the Chapman reflex. See, the Chapman reflex is a lymphatic reflex, and what happened here, now like the sacroiliac that got stuck created the congestion of the fluid in the area of the ovary. Okay? And this is the reason why the reflex got better. Now I want you so see the pelvic imbalance created a congestion in all the fluid in the body. And now we balance the base, we balance the sacroiliac, L5S1 and the upper cervical. Now from here, and we also balance the hormonal axis, the ovary, the kidney, at least in the lymphatic, for the drainage of the lymphatic in this organ. Now I want to go to do a more in-depth cranial diagnosis. Okay? I want to check all the bones and tell me in which level she has a dysfunction. Okay? Muscular level, bone level, or dura level. Who wants to do it?
What I find is that the left temporal
Yes.
and the left occiput, and I think it's mainly on the dura level.
Okay, I can see. You are correct. Yes. Okay. Who want to fix it? The occipital mastoid suture. You see what I just did? I created external rotation in the temporal, and I see how the occiput is moving, and it didn't move. And I did flexion in the occiput, and the temporal didn't move to external rotation, which means that the occipital mastoid suture is blocked. Yes? Remember, in the occipital mastoid suture, we have the jugular foramen. So what I want to find, if the suture is blocked, I want to see that the trapezius and the sternocleidomastoid also will be sensitive in the same side, because when the suture is blocked, it can put some pressure on the accessory nerve. So I'm going to check, I'm going to palpate the sternocleidomastoid. Is this sensitive? Yes. And here?
No.
No. And if I press here, is it sensitive? And if I press here?
Yeah.
Both of them? Okay. Good. Now I'm going to inhibit. I'm going to press the suture, and we're going to check it again. Okay, so I'm going, is this sensitive here?
Yeah.
Yeah, so now I'm pressing directly on the suture. And now I'm going to press this comb. Just a second, I put it here. This is the suture. Now, right? Is it sensitive?
No.
No. Now let's check the trapezius. No. So we know the occipital mastoid is going to release her trapezius and sternocleidomastoid. So who wants to open the suture? Angel, come.
I feel movement, so I now check the muscles again, inhibiting the occiput.
You don't need to inhibit the occiput anymore. If the occiput is open, if the suture is, or if you were able to succeed to open it, without the inhibition, you need to see the muscle relax. So press the sternocleido very close to the mastoid.
Just press.
Just press. Good. Now press the trapezius.
How does it feel? Little pain.
This is the
same
same
place that you pressed as well.
Very good.
Can you check also?
Good, got released. Okay, so we release the occipital mastoid. Now the last thing that we're going to do, we're going to balance the SBS. Okay, to close the treatment. Okay, so who want to balance the SBS? Come. Yes.
Flexibility of the trapezius and scalp.
So okay, you have 5 minutes more or less. It's the end of the treatment. This is how we're going to finish the treatment. Try to give me assessment what kind of dysfunction you have, and if you cannot have a dysfunction, just follow the tension that you are feeling. Okay. So what we had now, we found in the case history that we had gynecological problem. We had tension in the trapezius and in the kidney. Okay, in the fascial diagnosis, we saw that she had like a certain of torsion, that the left piriformis was releasing it. Okay, we also saw that she had a dysfunction in the upper cervical, that was left C2 and right the suboccipital. We did inhibition to the ethmoid, to the RTN. This released all the tension in the left sacroiliac, yes? We work on the tentorium cerebelli in its anterior part between the temporal and the sphenoid. And then we saw that all the upper cervical, the suboccipital, and the left sacroiliac got released, yes? The second step, we checked the Chapman reflexes, okay? And we saw we had 2 reflexes on the left and 1 reflexes of the ovary on the right. And the right ovary released the reflexes for the adrenal and the thyroid, okay? Then the second step, we saw that we had a posterior fascial chain that got released by the sacroiliac, okay? But when I pressed the right ovary, the sacroiliac did not release because I want to see who influenced who. So I released the sacroiliac, the posterior fascial release, and also when we check the Chapman reflex on the ovary, it also got released. So I know that the lymphatic congestion she had in the pelvis got better. And the reflexes for the adrenal and to the thyroid also got better. Okay? The next step, we went to the cranium. We did a test and we saw that she had the occipital mastoid stuck. We also saw that the trapezius and the sternocleidomastoid mastoid was stuck because of the accessory nerve that passed through the occipital mastoid in the jugular foramen. We released the occipital mastoid. All this got released, okay? And we finished the treatment by balancing.
RTM we also did.
What?
RTM.
Yeah, RTM. This is how we release it, and we finish our treatment with balance of the SBS, the sphenobasillum. And this is more or less how we finish the treatment round. Next treatment, we will have much more things to do. Still to balance the dural tension, the SBS, the knee, and of course we need to see what happened in the gynecological system and the pelvis. This we can do next time. Okay, this was the treatment. This was the sequence of event.
Got it.